So I want you to imagine trying to perfectly wrap around basketball in a flat, rigid piece of wrapping paper.
Oh, that's impossible.
Right. Without creating a single fold or a crease or a wrinkle, it is like a mathematical and geometric impossibility.
You just end up with a crumpled mess, honestly.
Exactly. You are trying to force a two-dimensional plane to seamlessly contour around a complex three-dimensional sphere, but every single time you slip on a beautifully tailored jacket or a perfectly fitted pair of jeans, someone has actually solved that exact geometric nightmare for you.
Yeah, and it's a completely transformative process that we just take for granted.
We really do. So today, our mission for this deep dive is to uncover the truly hidden genius behind the luxury fashion industry. We're looking at a fascinating document titled The Role of the Pattern Maker in High Fashion. And we want to discover exactly how a completely two-dimensional, highly abstract artistic sketch becomes a flawless, wearable masterpiece.
Which is a huge leap because, I mean, we are so accustomed to just looking at a finished gown on a runway, right? Or maybe glancing at a designer's initial mood board.
Yeah, the pre-pictures.
Right. But we completely overlook the massive technical gulf between an idea on paper and a physical object that actually has to exist in the real world. An object that is, subject to gravity and motion.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because fashion designers usually get all the glory, right? We
Yeah,
always
yeah, yeah.
picture them taking a bow at the end of a runway show.
The rock stars of the industry.
Exactly. But the best way I can think to describe the reality is this. Fashion designers are like the visionary architects dreaming up this wild, gravity-defying skyscraper.
Oh, I love that analogy.
But the pattern makers, they are the structural engineers who ensure that the building doesn't just collapse the second you walk inside.
Yeah, because without the structural engineer, the architect's dream is literally just a pretty picture. It cannot be inhabited. And in the exact same way, without the pattern maker, the fashion designer's sketch is just an illustration. It cannot be worn. The role of the pattern maker is arguably one of the most critical, yet somehow, most underappreciated aspects of the entire garment creation process.
And that is exactly why this matters to you listening to this right now. Because understanding pattern making completely changes how you appreciate the clothes hanging in your own closet right now.
Oh, absolutely.
You will genuinely never look at a seam or a collar or like the drape of a sleeve the same way again once you grasp the absolute mathematical and artistic wizardry required to make it fit your unique body.
Because a garment has to accommodate the fact that your body is constantly moving, right? It's shifting, it's breathing.
You're not a mannequin.
Exactly. It has
Yeah.
to endure all of that life, all that movement, while still somehow maintaining the exact visual silhouette the designer originally imagined.
So if pattern makers are the engineers of fashion, how do they actually turn that wildly imaginative sketch into a physical reality?
Well, essentially, they create the blueprint. They convert the designer's sketches into precise garment templates. These are the patterns. And those templates act as the exact guides for cutting the actual fabric.
But wait, if the designer draws it, why is it so hard to just cut it out and sew it together? I mean, let's be real. We all did basic arts and crafts in school. Tracing and cutting feels like it should be pretty straightforward.
Well, what's fascinating here is that your wrapping paper and basketball analogy perfectly describes the fundamental geometric impossibility of clothing.
Oh, right, because of the curves.
Yeah. A human body is a series of really complex, interconnected three-dimensional curves. But fabric initially is completely flat.
Right, it comes off a giant roll.
Exactly. So when you try to wrap something flat around something curved, you naturally get buckling and wrinkling. It's physics.
So how do they fix that?
To eliminate those wrinkles and force the flat fabric to contour smoothly over the human form, pattern makers have to strategically remove wedges of fabric. Those are called darts. Or they introduce these really carefully calculated curves right into the seams.
Wait, so a dart is essentially pinching out the excess paper so it sits flush against the sphere.
Exactly that. By sewing that pinched wedge closed, you force the flat fabric to suddenly peak, right? It creates three-dimensional volume out of nowhere,
Oh, wow.
which provides the necessary space for a bust or a shoulder blade or a hip. It requires intense geometric knowledge.
I can imagine.
But beyond just geometry, they have to intimately understand the physics of different materials. Because velvet does not behave like silk,
Yeah.
and silk definitely does not behave like stiff denim.
So the pattern for a denim jacket would be a total disaster if you used it to cut out, like, liquid satin.
Oh, complete disaster. The pattern maker has to account for the physics of the drape, the percentage of stretch, and something called the bias.
The bias. What is that?
So woven fabric has straight threads running up, down, left, and right. If you pull it straight, it's pretty rigid.
Okay, makes sense.
But if a pattern maker rotates their template and cuts the fabric at a 45-degree angle...
Oh, so diagonal to the threads.
Yes, exactly. That diagonal is the bias. If you cut it there, that same rigid fabric suddenly becomes elastic and it drapes like liquid.
Wait, really? Just by turning it?
Just by turning it. Knowing when and how to leverage those physical properties, that is an absolute masterclass in material science.
That is wild. And then, I mean, they have to deal with the absolute mathematical gauntlet of grading and sizing, right?
Grading is a whole other beast.
I've always wondered about this, actually, because a human body doesn't just scale up perfectly uniformly, like, zooming in on a digital photograph on your phone.
Right. Grading is the process of taking a base pattern, let's say a size medium, and calculating the dimensions for all the other sizes. And you are spot on. It is wildly complex because human anatomy grows non-linearly.
Non-linearly, meaning different parts grow at different rates.
Exactly. Bone structure doesn't expand at the same rate as soft tissue. So if you scale a pattern from a size medium to an extra large, you might widen the waistline by 2 inches, but you cannot widen the neckline by 2 inches.
Oh, right. The shirt would just fall completely off your shoulders.
It would be totally unwearable. The neckline might only need to increase by like 1/8 of an inch.
Wow.
And the depth of the arm